I hyperfixated for an entire weekend and I built a brand new Etsy shop from scratch. And I want to talk to you about it. So I have been sat on this idea now for years. I actually stumbled across a video from 2 years ago where I was talking about this potential idea that I'd had that I might want to start this brand, right? This brand around creating products for dog mums like me who just don't resonate with the stuff that's already on the market, right? There is so much stuff out there that is a little bit cringy, a little bit not very me, and I was really always looking for something that kind of reflected my personality in this space. I am obsessed with my dogs, they are my life, but I just never would have bought any of the stuff that I'd seen on Etsy. I would never have bought any of the stuff that usually gets advertised to me because it just wasn't my style at all. So 2 years ago, I'm talking about this idea. I had this kind of idea going on in my mind palace, and I was like, do you know what, this is a shiny object. I've already got 2 businesses, this is silly, let's put it to rest and think about it later. And then I've thought about it over the years and never done anything about it. So imagine my surprise when I decided one weekend that I could not get this idea out of my mind. I could not scratch that itch. And so I decided to just go with it. I was like, I've got the whole weekend ahead of me. I've got no plans. It was a horrible, miserable, rainy weekend. So I knew I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't going anywhere. And I just thought, let's just see how far I get this weekend. And in that weekend, I managed to get the entire shop set up, the branding sorted, my products listed. I think I got like 30 products listed in the first weekend. I got my integrations with a print-on-demand partner listed. I got some test samples printed. I printed my own test samples because I'm doing a range of wall art prints and print-on-demand like clothing. And yeah, I managed to get it all done in a weekend. I got socials set up, I got the Etsy shop set up, I went live with these products, and I've been adding a little bit ever since then. And within 2 weeks, I got my first sale, and within 3 weeks, I had 5 sales and my first 5-star review. So if you are sitting on an idea right now, if you are thinking that maybe it's a shiny object, maybe you don't quite have the time for it, maybe it's not something you should be focusing on, I want to give you permission to rip up the rule book that everybody is giving you and just follow what it is that you want to do. Because here's the thing, right? I am multi-passionate. I have so many things that I love. I love my business. I love creating new products. I love creating teaching materials. I love baking. I love cooking. I love my dogs. I love spending time with my family. I love creating new things. I love all of these different things, right? And so often I think we can tie our identities so closely to our businesses, especially if you're a full-time business owner, that we just kind of forget about all of those extra things that we do. So the idea had just been sitting there for ages. And as a multi-passionate, like I say, I am so guilty of chasing shiny objects, or in the past I've been so guilty of chasing shiny objects that led to nowhere and actually weren't the answer to what I needed in my business. But this one just felt different. It was an itch that I couldn't scratch, and I started thinking about it again around August time this year, and I just couldn't get it out of my mind. And in September I was like, this would be the perfect time to start a new brand. You know, we're coming up to Christmas season, this could be a great case study. But I was busy doing other things. And then in October I had this feeling again. I was like, do you know what, it's getting close to the end of the year, it's really not a good time to be doing this right now. It's probably going to flop because I'm busy doing other things. I don't have time to perfect it, and I don't have time to really take it to where I want it to go. So I let it go again. And then November hit, and I just couldn't physically get it out of my mind. I could not stop thinking about this idea. And so when that rainy weekend hit, I just went with it. And here's the thing, this hyperfixation wasn't random. It was my creative intuition telling me to stop waiting and stop procrastinating and to start building what I already knew in my heart and soul was the right thing to be working on. Because when you follow that spark, instead of living in constant fear that you're going to do the wrong thing, you're not going to get it right, you're not going to do it the right way, you're not going to do it perfectly, you start creating momentum and confidence and results so much faster, so much easier. And all of those things are so much easier to then piggyback more and more and more off the back of, instead of constantly starting from that place of fear, that place of uncertainty, that place of, I'm not quite sure if this is the right thing to be doing, so I won't do anything at all. Stop sitting on ideas that you've been thinking on for ages and start taking action, because action is that unlock to get you to that next level that you have been dreaming of in your business. And it has ended up feeding my creativity in a way I didn't even realize I needed, because as a multi-passionate, I am quite often feeling lacking in some certain areas when I'm very, very hyper-focused on the things I think I should be doing. So I think I should be building my business, I should be promoting my business, I should be showing up for my members, I should be doing my orders, and absolutely, I should be doing all of those things. But we have to remember, as creatives and as business owners and as multi-passionates, that we need to also feed what fuels us too. Because otherwise, what is the point? Why are we doing this if we can't feel the things that excite us? So I am so pleased that I did this, and I did not even necessarily expect the results to come in that fast. That first sale came in within a few days, I think within a week, and then those following subsequent sales have kind of snowballed since then. And that first review, I hope, will continue to snowball from here. And I'm actually really excited to continue developing this brand as a bit of a passion project, to be honest, to scratch that kind of creative itch that I really feel like I'm lacking in my business sometimes, because I do a lot of data work, I work with other sellers, I do a lot of connection work, but I often feel like I don't make time to be creative in myself. So that is the number one reason I really wanted to create this new business. And what this actually became is an experiment in building momentum over kind of trying to get everything perfect. Like building a shop in 48 hours from just pure clarity, pure desire, pure getting my head down and getting to it, instead of waiting for it to be the right time to do it. Because actually it could have potentially been the worst possible time to launch a brand. There was only like 2 weeks of the year that it was going to be possible to even process orders. I didn't know whether I would get any orders before I'd have to close before Christmas, but hey ho, I did it anyway, and look what happened. The thing is, your best ideas are going to come from the energy you want to put out into the world, the energy you want to spend your time on, rather than the pressure that you're putting on yourself to follow someone else's plan, to do the things that somebody else has told you that you should be doing. So I guess one of the lessons in this as well is to follow your own intuition when you are feeling that pull to do something that maybe doesn't feel necessarily like it is the right thing to do according to someone else's plan, but it feels so aligned for you. The thing is, I wasn't trying to build an entire perfect strategy overnight, okay? That was what was keeping me stuck all of these times I've thought about this brand before. I wanted to build the brand out. I wanted to have a photo shoot and have all of the perfect samples and do the big launch and do the crazy, amazing photography and videography and get a social media account up and running. And I actually really would have preferred to be able to create the products myself so that I could wrap them and create a brand experience with my packaging and all of that stuff. Having been a handmade seller for most of my career, I really wanted to do. But I also knew that that was what was keeping my idea from being in here and keeping it from being outside in the real world. So I just had to let go of a lot of that perfectionism, let go of that kind of big picture, blue sky thinking, and go, okay, but what can I do in 48 hours? What can I do this weekend that will move me closer towards that goal that I have in my mind? Because I can do all of those things down the line if and when this takes off. And I think that is what is the beautiful thing about Etsy as well, is it can also be a springboard for a bigger idea. It can be a springboard for a bigger brand and a bigger business. It can be the place that you validate an idea pretty easily without having to spend huge amounts of time, money, effort, energy on creating a huge experience and a brand that actually maybe isn't aligned with what you are gonna want to sell long term anyway. So if nothing else, take this as a proof that you don't need a huge perfect plan. You just need a starting point and you need to get going with whatever it is that you are thinking about creating. I know so many sellers that have not created their brand yet because they're waiting for the perfect time and they want to do it in the perfect way. They want to launch it in the perfect way. They want to do the most amazing job of it, and that is absolutely fine. We know you want to do an amazing job of it, but if you doing an amazing job of it is going to hold you back from doing it at all, just take 50%, take 75%, right? It doesn't have to be at 100%. Just go with what you have right now. You can build and compound on it over time, but if you don't get started, it's always going to be 100% of a perfect idea and 0% of actually implementing it. And I honestly think that one of the other sides of this is the fact that if you are constantly resisting your own creative ideas, resisting the urges to follow what it is that you feel like you should do, that you feel aligned to be doing, it actually causes more problems for you down the line because everything else starts to become a little bit grey, a little bit watered down. It's not really what you quite want to be doing because you're just doing it because somebody told you should do it or because you've seen online that that's the way that you should do things. And actually holding yourself back can be the worst possible thing in your business. Now, I am not saying go and chase every single shiny object that comes across your desk. Trust me, I've been there. That is not that is not the answer either. But what you do need to do is really think about when these ideas pop up in your mind, is it actually something that is going to feel good longer term to build, to work on, to kind of get out into the other? Is it something you can spend maybe an hour, 2 hours on and go, actually, you know what, that wasn't the right thing, so you can move on from it? You know, don't let yourself derail yourself for an entire year, but absolutely there is something that you can do before the end of the year that you can get started on, that you can get working on, that you can get out there into the world before this year ends, instead of thinking, I'm just going to start in January or I'll think about that next year. What can you do right now with that burning idea that you've got, with that passion that you feel, with that really aligned feeling that you feel in your gut is the right thing to do, but you're stopping yourself for whatever reason? Maybe perfectionism, maybe timing doesn't feel right, maybe it's just that you're so busy right now and it's not the right thing. What tiny action, what tiny part of that can you do to actually get something out into the world before the year ends, so that you can feel accomplished, so that you can feel creative, so that you can feel fulfilled, and actually so that you've got something to start from, a baseline to start from when it comes to the 1st of January, and you go, okay, that big plan and that big idea that I have, now I've got to start it from zero. If you've done a little bit of it before the end of the year, well, you're not starting from zero, you're starting from a foundation. So if I can give you any advice, if you can take any lesson from this video, it is that there is something that you can do between now and the end of the year that is a tiny little action that's going to help you to feel more accomplished, feel more aligned, and to actually be ready with a springboard in the new year that you can work from. I know this was a bit of a different video. It was very much unscripted and just kind of came from the heart, but that's kind of how I want to go into the rest of this year and into next year, is actually talking to you about what I'm doing right now, documenting things as I'm going and sharing what's working for me, so that I am not just, yet another Etsy YouTuber. I hope this has been helpful, and I will catch you in the next one.